What are the different kinds of alimony you could talk about in a divorce? You have rehabilitative alimony, you have periodic alimony, you have lump sum or alimony in gross. Most people that get awarded alimony in Alabama are usually going to get what we call rehabilitative alimony. And just like you would think of that word rehabilitation, it's going to help you get from where you are to somewhere else. A rehabilitative alimony award is going to help you get on your feet, basically, because maybe you've been a stay-at-home parent and you've been out of the workforce for many years, and maybe you've been married for 20 years without working. Think about if you had been working for that full 20 years, you would be in a much higher career level than if you start out right now as a newly divorced person at the ground. And so rehabilitative alimony might be for a period of months or years to help you get back on your feet to where you're going from this level of income and education up to where you've got to go to school. You've got to work through the job process to get a little advancement to where you can comfortably live again. So rehabilitative alimony is probably the most common kind of alimony people deal with. An important consideration in alimony is going to be, do I get this all at one time? Is it just going to be an award that they have to pay me until they die? Or is it going to be a certain amount that I'm going to get? And even if it's paid out over a number of years or months, I'm going to get that amount. The important thing to keep in mind is if you have an award of alimony that's just going to be paid on a monthly basis from now on, when your spouse dies, that alimony ends. But if you get what we call an award of alimony in gross or lump sum alimony, that is going to be a set amount of money. And just for round numbers, if you get an award of $120,000 to be paid at $1,000 a month, well, that is still going to be $120,000 you're awarded. So if your spouse dies 60 months into that and you are still owed $60,000, that 60 grand can be a debt of that person's estate. And so you can still collect that even after that. So you want to make sure if you have a set amount of alimony, you get that awarded, even if it's paid out in payments. And that's much better for you than just having, okay, I'm going to get $1,000 a month till this person dies. No, you want it as a big lump sum. And maybe you're not in a situation financially where alimony you wouldn't think really would apply to you. You're not high income. Maybe you have worked, but not as much. And you probably do need to look at asking for some rehabilitative alimony to help you get to a better place so that over a year or two, maybe 3 years, you can get to a place where you're comfortable, you can live without the financial help of your former spouse at that point. A few factors may determine whether or how much alimony you're going to get awarded. So if you've worked all the time and you and your spouse have equal incomes basically, and you're going to kind of all be in the same place after you divorce, you're probably not going to get alimony. But if you've been a stay-at-home parent and have taken care of your family so that your spouse could build a business or could work outside the home, then you're a really good candidate for alimony. Your situation is really going to determine whether you are entitled to alimony. Do you need it to keep up the same kind of lifestyle you lived before? Do you need it in order to get to a better place professionally? But also the amount of alimony is going to be determined by your spouse's ability to pay and your financial need. So those are going to come into play, determining how much and whether or not you're awarded alimony. Certain types of alimony can be modified even after your divorce. One of the most common ways that people could get an alimony award modified is if your spouse gets remarried or cohabits with somebody. Now, they're probably not going to call you and say, hey, stop sending me this check every month. I'm going to get remarried. You may find out they've gotten married or they've let their boyfriend or girlfriend move in the home with them. They're sharing expenses and you're funding their lifestyle. You probably need to file for a modification to ask the court to stop your award of alimony to that person so you don't have to continue paying them when their situation has changed dramatically. So alimony can be modified, just like many things after a divorce, but you probably need to talk to a lawyer and see if your situation is one that is primed for an alimony modification. Alimony is not incredibly common in Alabama. A lot of people do get an award of it. I'd say more often than not, most average income people, you're probably not going to get an award of alimony. But you're sure not going to get it if you don't ask for it. And so you definitely ought to ask for alimony in your complaint for divorce. You're a prime candidate if you have been a stay-at-home spouse throughout or for a majority of your marriage, or if your spouse makes a lot more than you have, or maybe you've worked in a business where that spouse has been the business owner. You've been at home taking care of the children, and maybe you've helped with the books, maybe you've taken care of some scheduling or whatever, but you've never drawn a paycheck from that business. And now your spouse says, hey, this is my business. I built it over these years. You've just been home taking care of the kids. You don't deserve any of my business. You are a candidate for alimony. It can happen many times, especially in situations in Alabama where one parent has been at home throughout or for most of the marriage. You could be a good candidate for alimony. So it's not incredibly common, but it does happen and you need to ask for it. If you have questions about alimony, I invite you to reach out to us right now to find out if you're a candidate for it and what you should ask for in your divorce.